Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Of course, my pleasure.
I love this movie so much. So I've seen it twice. I saw it before South by, then I saw it at South by Southwest.
Amazing.
I want to ask you what it was like for you being in that room, because that was an electric screening.
Oh my gosh, that was the best screening of my life. I remember when the movie ended and just sort of that feeling, that reaction. I went over to the producers and I was like, well, we peaked. That's it. It's never going to be better than that. It's one of the best festivals in the world, and it's because it's populated by people who just love movies, and you just can't fake it, and you can't replicate it. Like it's so authentic, and it's electric.
Yeah, it was so fun, and I can't wait. I'm going to see it again tonight. Awesome. So I love this movie. It's so much fun. But I love Megan and Brandon. They're so fantastic in this. What would you say it is about them that really makes them so perfect for this film?
I think it comes down to just like authenticity. Like they are exactly who you think they are, and there's just zero pretense with them. Megan is this very emotionally intelligent person with a huge heart, and she's fun, she's approachable, and that's what I wanted for Violet. Like I knew that I wanted everyone to really relate to this woman and to feel like, oh, I would hang out with her. And Brandon, he's like this, there's something about him that I feel like is like a classic leading man. And a lot of this sort of casting for me was like wish fulfillment, like in terms of like who would a woman want to be on a date with? And I was like, that guy. Yeah. Like giant, handsome guy who actually has a heart of gold. And so yeah, like just really feeling that chemistry between them, it was very evident early on. And so like it was the sigh of relief, to be honest, when we started making the movie and they were at the table. I was like, okay, this is gonna work.
And he sticks around, which is hard to make it believable that man
it is
would stay.
A hat trick. We worked a lot on that in the script, and it was a challenge. But also, like I think you kind of really buy into this idea that like he's sort of secretly watching out for her. Like he knows something's up, and he calls it out pretty early. But he just can't put his finger on it. But he knows that like this person that he's been communicating with for a couple months, like she's the real deal, and he's just trying to figure out what's off tonight.
Well, I do want to talk to you about Hard Eyes real quick, because I just watched it. So I have 12 and 13-year-old daughters.
Okay.
And I watched it at the screening, and I was like, okay, I think they'll be into this.
They could do this.
And we watched it at home. They loved it. Amazing. I mean, they were like, this is so good.
Makes me happy.
So is there a possibility of a franchise? Could we get more?
It's not my place to announce anything. But I know that there's a desire among all of us to have another movie, but I don't think anyone's ready to talk about it.
Okay, because it feels like this is there could definitely be copycat killers.
It could be a lot of things.
I am like down for it, so.
It could be a lot of things.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then also I do want to talk to you about Happy Death Day. I'm sure everyone's bringing it up to you, but
topic of conversation.
Well, that's what happens when you confirm a third one, finally.
I know.
And I know you had mentioned that you wanted to try to switch things up if you were to come back.
Yeah, and we are, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of the things that people love about the movie, that it still has scares, there's still a slasher element. But I think it approaches the time loop movie in a way that no one's actually ever seen before.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I'm excited.
That's a lot of mystery.
That's one I've been waiting for a while.
Same.
Those are so fun.
Yeah.
Would you do another drop? Would you think there's a way to do another drop?
There's definitely a way to do it. I mean, look, there's always a way. If a movie is a success, and I'm not counting any chickens here, especially original movies these days, everybody slept on Companion.
I agree.
Pissed me off. But yeah, there's always a way. But my whole rule, and a lot of people say this, but like, there has to be a reason for a sequel to exist. It cannot just be purely for money. Yeah. Like if it's a cash grab, it's gonna suck. But if it's like the filmmakers are like, I have this amazing way to continue the story, then yeah, like that's what makes it worthwhile.
What I love about Drop 2, though, is like all the action at the end. It's like you're all in this one place, and then it just goes crazy and goes back to the apartment.
Yeah, well, what I've described is like the movie structurally is like going on a roller coaster. And, you know, for the first and second act, you're really just sort of going up the ramp. And so it's just the suspense and the tension is just building and building, because this is how it feels when you're on a ride. And then just as you get to the top, pun intended, you hit the drop. And that's what happens in the movie, is that you finally crest that sort of hill there, and then it's just, you're flying.
Is there one thing that was like most challenging about, I guess, filming in, you're mostly in one location. So I feel like, is that a challenge or is it easier?
It's both. And every movie presents a different set of challenges and a different set of advantages. You know, the challenges here is like, how do you make a single location movie and people sitting at tables exciting? You know, like that was a big challenge from a visual standpoint, you know, like, so that was one. But then the advantage is like, oh wow, we have like absolute and total control of our environment. I can get the camera anywhere I want it. I have, you know, all of these lighting things that I can do. And so there's a lot of freedom in that scenario too. So it's just the way that you look at it.
Is there one sequence you were like, oh, this might be really, really hard, and it ended up being easy?
No.
Or easier? No?
Nothing's ever like easy per se. But you know, it was like and I think it's a testament to you know, our crew, and just everybody who worked on the movie. We finished the movie 3 days early.
Wow.
And that was because it was pre-lit, you know, and like we weren't lugging a lot of gear around. Like we could just be so nimble and fly through stuff. And we shot a lot. But yeah, we were able to move through the movie pretty fast. And that allowed me to buy the opening title sequence, because we could never have afforded to do that had we not finished early.
Well, I'm glad that you did.
Me too.
Yeah, that worked out well. I do want to talk to you about cutting a trailer too, because I feel like, you mentioned Companion too, I feel like sometimes a trailer can give too much away.
Too much or too little.
Yeah, and I think this one's great. Even the second trailer was like, did a really good job of not giving stuff away. Can you talk about like working with marketing or how that works?
I'm very fortunate to work with the people at Universal who are the best at this stuff. And they cut a brilliant trailer, 2 brilliant trailers, and also created 2 beautiful posters. They're both, I think, like works of art. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just about sort of trying to find the balance of like, you know, how do we get people excited about something without spoiling it, you know? And it's funny because usually a lot of people watch trailers and they usually say like, oh, they showed too much. But, you know, in this case, I think it was like just the right amount. We really withhold all the secrets of the movie, but still make it look really fun.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they did an incredible job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I watched it after watching the movie and was like, oh, they did a really good job.
Because it's hard.
Because it's hard.
It's a very hard thing to pull off in this movie, and they did a really good job. But they're really like collaborative and open to feedback, and it's nice to work with people like that.
Awesome. And then before we wrap, I have to bring up, I know you were supposed to do Scream 7 at some point. Do you think that's something you would ever revisit if the opportunity came up, or have you kind of closed the doors on that?
Definitely closed that door. And I'm thrilled that Kevin is making 7 now, because when you look back at it, I always say like, I was supposed to make this movie, and he was supposed to make that movie. And that's just the way that it all worked out, right? So I'm excited for him and for that movie. But also, like, I really feel like, you know, not to say that I won't dip into a franchise or, you know, a remake or whatever, because I'm always curious about certain kinds of things. But I really like to be committed to original stuff as much as I can be, just because there's such a fight out there to like get this stuff made. And if I have any leverage or power and I can actually get an original movie made, then like that's the thing I should do.
And now we can have a Hard Eyes franchise. So
this is how you make new franchises with original movies.
I mean, that was a wild success. Everyone I've talked to absolutely loves it. So, and they're right, because it's fantastic.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Lovely.